It's been a while, hasn't it? I think it's been 3 years since I've uploaded a full remix. If you're wondering who I am, or if you don't care about who I am, hi, my name is Jason, the Epic J Woo 2000, the 301st Spartan, and I've been making Sparta Remixes for 10 years. 11 years. 11 years! If my channel was a child right now, it would probably be a blossoming 4th grader. That's about when I started disappointing my parents. Most people do something useful during that time, like learn an instrument, play a sport, get good at a video game, get an actual talent. I learned how to use Adobe After Effects to make my Sparta visuals rotate. It's unspeakable how sad that is. Here I was thinking, how I got to this point in my life. Well, I've been a mystery for the past 10, 11 years. So allow me to divulge to you a brief history on me. Also, I believe that Sparta Remixing may be at risk of collapsing. Let me explain. Back when I first started in 2013, it was a lot more simple back then to learn how to remix. All you needed was a legal version of Vegas, and you were good to go. Like, compared to what's being output today, a remix back then was just the chorus pattern copied and pasted, a looped percussion pattern, and one or two super basic pitch patterns. Something like adding vibrato to your chorus pattern was considered novel, so even a dumb child like me could learn how to get up to speed in a few months. Granted, they weren't the best of the best. They weren't great. They weren't good. They were pretty bad. Then I thought to myself, hey, this is kind of hard. And this new fad called gun syncing seemed to be pretty cool. Let me try to jump onto that bandwagon. Then I took a 4-year-long break to work on my gun syncing channel. And I kind of conquered that side of YouTube. A cough. And when I came back, things finally changed. You see, when I came back, you had people taking their pitch patterns, putting them into external pitch correction software, taking that, putting it into a professional audio workstation like FL Studio. You would fine-tune the already pitch-corrected sample and use that to create melodies. Whatever happened to, this guy's scream seems to be a little bit on pitch. Let's slap on some pitch shifter and call it a day. It took me about a year to get back up to speed with the new standard. I'd have been making music remixes using Vegas for 5 years. And then overnight, everyone's basically a full-blown music producer. What the hell is this? Just as I thought I was starting to get good, I took another break to focus on high school shit. And then I came back in 2020, and things were crazy. You thought 2017 was bad? People were adding like 7 to 8 different effects on the plugin rack, auto-tune, vocoder. So many effects and techniques were being used on layering kicks until they straight up sounded like actual professional sample. This could be my boomer side speaking out. But now there was a central hub of Sparta-based project files, which meant that you didn't have to painstakingly recreate all of the melodies within the bass by ear. You could just replace the melody percussion with the specific sample that you wanted to use, and boom, you were done. I personally argue that took out some of the creativity, since people don't tend to add extra melodies onto the replace FLPs, they just happen to replace the melodies. But who am I to judge? Now it's 2022. Actually, it's 2023. I wrote the script like a year ago. To put it in perspective, a bad collab part today would be considered legendary or god tier 3 years ago. Which is bonkers. If you've been wondering what I've been up to, you know, I've been playing music for drunk frat kids so I could pay for my crippling alcoholism. I'm just saying YouTube doesn't quite pay the bills like it did, and I really need to make a V2 of my Gamma remix. My cash cow is withering away. It's insane. I used to pull in like $100 a month just from that video alone, and now it's like down to like $20. Like, why do I even do this? Why does anyone do this? You think I do this shit for fun? I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. The passion for this art, it died a couple of years. It died like 5 years ago, back in 2017. It's money, man. Here is my issue with what's going on right now. So there's a huge disparity between the people who have the skills to output great mixes and the people who are still learning and struggling. The problem is that there aren't many good bridges or tutorials on YouTube to help people cross over from one world to the other. Sure, there's some tutorials online, and they're okay, but there's a noticeable difference between the tutorial makers and the people who actually make good remixers. Trust me, I'm not part of either category. I just yell at high school kids so my collabs can be uploaded on time. And I've noticed something. A big reason why a lot of these guys are where they are now is because essentially we're a very tight-knit community and we share tips with each other. We go on voice calls, give other people feedback live while they're making mix. Well, we're not super tight-knit. There's a few individuals who I've had beef with, and while I've apologized or forgiven most of them, there's this one guy who... Let's just put it this way. My ego and his ego would not fit in the same room together. The room in this metaphor being pretty much every single collaboration we've been in together. It's like that scene in SpongeBob where he says,
"Barnacles, what could be worse than a giant paint bubble?"
Oh, I know. 2 giant paint bubbles.
No! Patrick,
Yeah, SpongeBob?
I don't think this bubble can get much bigger.
Nonsense!
Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So yes, the transfer of communication within this specific community, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. The issue I have, which I think the newer remixers are currently getting neglected. Okay, so for all the veterans and the content creators out there who are listening to this, I want you to think back to your first 3 to 6 months of remixing and whatever year it was. Do you remember how hard it was to get the first basic chorus pattern just right? And do you remember how intimidating FL Studio was when you first loaded it up? How about trying to figure out how to make your kick sample sound like a kick and not some garbled compressed mess? Now imagine if you guys had a detailed tutorial playlist which helped you step by step. It wouldn't have been easy, but it would have made the journey a hell of a lot easier. In fact, it would have made my life a whole lot easier. Where am I going with this? Am I simply an old disgruntled man ranting about a better time? A better time on how we didn't FLP replaced? How we used copied and pasted the exact same percussion samples? Of course I'm fucking not. This is where I might get some detractors or haters from the OGs, but I love the direction that remixing is going right now. If it stayed the 2013 quality, it would have died right then and there, and we would have never thought about it again. I believe we are just a few steps away from becoming an actual possible music genre that people listen to. And again, while we're here, we need a fresh wave of new talent to generate new ideas, new styles. But my issue is, how can we have talent if the barriers of entry are so high? So this is why I'm going to personally ask the majority of the Sparta Remix community to upload a tutorial series, anything about how you specialize in. Sure, uploading 3-hour live streams are helpful. However, going through the entire length of the live stream to figure out how you pitched up a specific chord progression kind of turns you away from improving. It doesn't even have to be the entire process. Maybe showing people the do's and don'ts about sample selection, explaining the effects on your mixer channel to a baseline, maybe showing people how to make visuals quicker with the autoflip script. What we're putting out is getting close to professional quality. I'm not saying I'm outputting it, but dang. But damn, here's the key difference of why our community is so small versus actual producing. If I want to look up on how to make a bass fat, and I'll find hundreds of tutorials on YouTube. However, if I want to look up something similar, like how to add fast distortion onto a bass sample in a Sparta remix, there's nothing. There's nothing. So please don't keep your secrets to yourself. Help the new guys climb up to our level so that we can grow. You're going to underestimate how much you're going to help people with this. A quick 30-minute video of you just editing, clipping samples, and adding them into Melodyne will save other people dozens and dozens of weeks or months of pain. A little backstory on me. The first year of remixing from 2012 to 2013, I didn't know that you had to disable quantize the frames. So every time I would try to make a remix, it would be synchronized to 30 frames per second, which means it would always be a little bit off, but I couldn't adjust it to be the precise length of 140 BPM. So all my remixes were off timing. Nobody told me I had to turn that off for a year. And then some dude in my comments told me, hey, maybe you should turn off quantize the frames. If I knew that from the beginning, imagine how much better I could have gone much quicker. People might say, oh, you're all talk and no walk, Jason. What are you going to do? I understand I'm a lazy bastard. I haven't uploaded a full remix in 3 years. I mean, I have like 3 projects going on, but like, I'm just lazy. This isn't done yet, but this is currently in the works. I will be personally uploading a detailed tutorial on how After Effects works and how to use camera movements to show how to make 3D visuals, similar to what I did for Send Off. I mean, I'm gonna admit, I'm not a great audio maker. I feel like I'm more specialized in visuals, and even nowadays, I've seen some of the collab parts coming out, and I'm not even close to that. But this is the least I can do. I'll leave the rest to you. Anyways, that's it for my rant from an old man. If this gets like 100 likes, I'll tell you guys about why I think Bombden, RBS, and Emergence were the worst thing to ever happen to this community. But that's a topic for another day. You gotta feed me my likes first. Anyways, I'll see you guys in 2 months. Or 2 years. Depending on how Bombden V2 goes. I've said too much.